What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? I know it looks different. I know it's a different night, but it's still the Sanchez show. We just had to postpone it one day. All right, I am live from right now. I'm in Gulfport, Mississippi, but earlier today I was in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl, and we had to get this live in. I had to reach out to my brother Trip Young because we didn't get the chance to sit down on Monday, and then obviously we postponed yesterday, so I had to get with my brother Trip. Trip, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing well, man. I'm happy, man.
I feel you, man. Listen. It's been a hectic couple days, man. Between a snowstorm and trying to get out of DC to then get down here was a journey in itself. But we here. Let's get to some things. Trip. I'm gonna get into the Senior Bowl. Obviously, I'm down here. I've been down here the last couple of days, getting some footage, getting some interviews. For those of you
Mhm.
that already don't, make sure you follow me across all social media platforms because I put up one short clip of an interview I was doing yesterday, and then another with running back from Penn State, Katron Allen, went up earlier
Yeah.
today on my YouTube. I'll make sure by the end of this weekend, all the interviews will be up along with some of the sights and sounds from the past couple of days. And tomorrow I will be going live from the parade, the kind of the celebratory parade that's done every year at the end of the Senior Bowl. This is my first experience at the Senior Bowl, so I'm learning this on the fly as well. But nonetheless, we're gonna get to all that. Trip, let's get to some of the biggest stories of the weekend. First and foremost, we didn't get to speak on Monday, so we
Mhm.
didn't get a chance to give our reaction to the conference championship results. Which game do you want to
Well,
start with, AFC or NFC? Both were good games. Both
let's
obviously get
let's start with the AFC because the NFC game was action packed. The
right.
AFC game was still a good game, but it was a very defensive football game, which I kind of expected. But let's save the action because the Rams Seahawks went in.
So we're gonna start with the AFC.
Hmm.
All right. So the AFC, it was a good game. I give Jarrett Stidham a lot of credit because he had the one big throw and it kept them in the game early. And he allowed their defense. He didn't make any mistakes, which is the key, right? But then the weather changed. And then what turned from what looked like a very interesting early first half game turned into kind of a rock fight in the second half. It was almost, three runs and out on both sides. Um, were you surprised by anything other than the weather, obviously? Was there anything that surprised you? And I know it's a tough game to analyze at this point.
Well, I won't say anything surprised me. I did feel like the total score would be a little bit higher, but I didn't think it was going to be too much higher. Um, but I mean, Denver played as just about as good as they could have played without Bo Nix, right?
Right.
You hold the Patriots to 10 points. I mean, any other day of the week, you tell me we hold a team to 10 points, we coming home with the W. You know what I'm saying? So the defense did their job. Um, I gotta give the Patriots though a lot of respect. I gotta give Drake May his respect, right? Because Drake May just went up against the two best defenses in football in back-to-back weeks, and he led his team to a victory. And I don't care if you throw for 500 yards or if you throw for 50 yards in the playoffs, as long as you get that W, that's all that matters. I like the stats for regular season when we got the fantasy football league going. In the playoffs, it's all about the W's, and he just went up against the two best defenses in football in back-to-back weeks, and he came out, and then now he is going to the Super Bowl. So I want to give him his props.
That's a fact. Shout out to Will. Will, I see you in the comments section. Will Gordon was going to try to join us, but obviously, life happens sometimes, man. But shout out to my brother Will. Uh, I would say this again. It got ugly in the second half. The weather played a major factor in it.
Mhm.
But like you said, Drake May went up against back-to-back weeks against the best defenses. This time, the big knock was obviously would he turn the ball over the way he did, like in that Texans game. He didn't, which is all he needed to do. Allow his defense to
Yeah.
kind of win the game on there. And I thought it showed the confidence that Vrabel had in that defense as well, because late in the game, it was very obvious what they were going to do. They were going to just run the ball three times. And if you stop them, so be it. My defense can stop you. Um,
Yes.
that's what it really turned
Oh,
into.
yeah, that's true. That's true though.
And one of the things I had highlighted last week when we talked about it was the reason I did not think Jarrett Stidham could win this game was because, like I said, he was going to need multiple drives to win. I thought he was going to need two or three really good drives. Now,
Mhm.
to be fair, there was a moment there, and Will Gordon and I were texting during the game. The Broncos are up 7-0. Peyton maybe was a little too aggressive. Instead of taking the field goal, he goes for it on fourth down. They get stopped. Could the game have been different from that point? Who knows? Maybe if the Broncos go up 10-0, it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they didn't. And then you also had the Stidham. You had the Stidham, the backwards pass, originally called the incomplete, but then a backwards pass that led to 7. So those to me were the two critical plays of this game. I thought the Patriots didn't do much offensively, but they didn't have to because I thought their defense, aside from that one big pass that they gave up, their defense was sound the rest of the game. And that's all it took to win. Will says, fuck analytics. Teams going for fourth downs and field goal range early in games is ridiculous. Patriots were bailed out twice in these playoffs. My Bolts did it. Denver did it. Cost both teams daily. Well, listen, we can't say the Patriots were bailed out because if the Chargers get that fourth down or if the Broncos get that fourth down, we're praising the head coaches for how aggressive they were, right? The Patriots had to make a play. Simple as that. So to say they were bailed out makes it seem as if the Patriots did nothing and they just got lucky. They made a play. They made the play that needed to be made, and that was it. On the flip side of that, I said this to Will Gordon at the time. I said it in the Chargers game, and I said it in this game. Sean Payton understood that going up 10-0 may not be enough to beat the Patriots. Now, his defense was great, right? He did everything he needed to do, but it's very possible that he realized this is not how this game would play out well for us if we just settle for a field goal here. We need to be aggressive early. We need to score. And
boy, was he wrong.
Right. But either way, again,
it's 50-50.
Right. And again, looking back at the game, the way it played out, the 10 points, only thing the 10 points would have guaranteed them was maybe going to overtime because that's all the Patriots scored. Now if the game was 7-7 late in the fourth quarter, then we'd be like, hey, you missed an opportunity. But keep in mind, and I said this to Will during that text exchange, the Patriots missed 2 field goals in this game. The Broncos missed a field goal themselves in this game. So maybe Sean Payton viewed it and said, hey, field goals might not be enough to win it no matter what. Because, again, the Patriots got opportunities in field goal range. One of them was bad weather, obviously, but there was another one that they had before the half that could have put them up 10-7 going into halftime, and they missed.
Yeah.
So I think Sean Payton had a pretty good idea that 10 points isn't going to be enough to win. And as I keep saying, I don't know if Jarrett Stidham had 3 or 4 drives in him. You might have been lucky to just get those 2 drives, and so now you're trying to capitalize on it. Let's see. Will said, I said it on our live watch party in real time for us to kick, and I said the Denver game, no hindsight. No, I'm not saying it's hindsight, Will. What I'm saying is we would have called them geniuses if those plays would have worked. If they would have worked, we would have said, hey, way to be aggressive and make something happen, right? On the flip side, they didn't, so we can always say, oh, they cost them.
Nobody's ever gonna say after you scored a touchdown, man, damn, we should have kicked that field goal.
Right, we should have. Shout out to my man Ren. I see you on Instagram. We're gonna get to some of the stuff that's going on at Senior Bowl, and shout out to Squeeze. We're gonna get to that in a second. The other game obviously was it was the game we expected it to be. It was the third matchup between the Rams and Seahawks. Their first 2 in the regular season were great games. This game was no different. And in this game, special teams played a big factor as well. The only difference is in this game, the special teams play was the muff punt. That cost the Rams probably their opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. But I thought Sam Darnold made some great plays. I thought Smith and Jigba may have elevated himself to the best receiver in football. If not, he's definitely in the conversation. But Tripp, what were your thoughts on that game and the performance by Seattle?
Well, first of all, that punt return is what cost me my parlay. That's first and foremost, because I know I would have covered on my ticket because they had the momentum at that point, and it's just like, bruh, it's the NFL playoffs. You cannot like. How was it on? What was it on Hard Knocks when your car don't work no more at the office?
When like you don't even
facility, you don't even get the notifications, my nigga. Your car just gonna stop working, bro. Like that's it. That's all you get for that, man. That was just crazy. But outside of that, I thought it was a really good game. Both of these quarterbacks, and I gotta commend both of these quarterbacks as well, because both of these quarterbacks, had similar stories, right? Struggling early on in the career, and then one trade, one signing,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, just like that. We talking about two of the top quarterbacks in football in the past 2 years. With Darnold and what he did in Minnesota, and then now coming over and then leading a Seahawks team, the Seahawks team to a Super Bowl, and the same thing with Sam. You know, I think people had given up on him in Detroit prior to them making that trade, and they now from that trade he has a Super Bowl in his back pocket. All right, is a good chance he's going to get MVP this season. So, I mean, you got to tip your hat to both of these guys. Great game overall. Obviously, you want the parlays to hit, but whatever. You can't always control that one. But yeah, but I think it was just a great game, and I think we're gonna have a great Super Bowl because we got a little bit of a storyline with this Super Bowl as well. What I'm saying, it's the rematch right here.
This is the
Will,
rematch.
will Seattle run the football this time around if they get on that 1 yard line?
Well,
So I'm
I'm
excited.
glad you said that because that is going to be one of the interesting storylines. Not only revisiting what happened the last time these two franchises met in the Super Bowl, but also because that is a major strength of the Patriots. The Patriots are one of the better teams in stopping a run. And I think if
Mhm.
you're Seattle, you want to run the ball because that's what sets up your play action pass. That's what allows Sam
Yep.
Darnold to kind of get that
The
extra protection
Jigba.
to get the ball down the field. So it's going to be a great matchup. I think it's a lot of storylines. We'll save our predictions for next week as we get a little closer to the Super Bowl. But I just think in terms of like matchups and storylines, you're talking about Christian Gonzalez, one of the best young corners in the game, going up against Smith and Jigba,
Mhm.
right? You're talking about obviously Sam Darnold and kind of the redemption story because you're going to see it all week. That clip when he said, "I'm seeing ghosts" when he was with the Jets playing against the Patriots, right? You're
Yeah.
going to get, like you said,
That.
the storyline of Marshawn Lynch not getting the handoff at the goal line. So that'll come
Yep.
back up. You get the Cooper Cup redemption story because Cooper Cup was let go by the Rams and now he's back in the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
right? You get Stephon Diggs in his first Super Bowl appearance, getting opportunity. So there's so many storylines here. Mike Vrabel, there's a lot of storylines. I think it's a really good matchup. The early line on it is 4.5 right now for Seattle. I can understand it. Do I think it's a little more evenly matched than 4.5? I do, but I understand why. Seattle has been so good defensively, and they've been so good in these playoffs.
Yeah. And I'm probably on the offensive side, I'm probably gonna give the edge to Seattle as well.
I
I
agree.
just think, as much as I love Stephon Diggs, but you know, the Jigba is a beast, bro. Like
Hmm.
he has really elevated his game this season. And then when you add in you got the veteran who is an all pro wide receiver in his own right. Obviously, Cooper Cup's a little older now, dealt with a couple of injuries, but guess what? In that championship game, Cooper Cup was making them big plays
Yep.
that saved them, that extended drives, and that's what you want from your veteran wide receiver who now he doesn't have to do everything that he was doing and with the Rams because you have Jackson Smith doing everything on the opposite side of the field. So I just think they're in a good place. Running game wise, I think the running game is pretty close. I don't even know who I would give the edge to because I really like the combination of Henderson and Stevenson, but the Seahawks got
Kenneth
a good
Walker's been great
tandem.
these playoffs.
You know what I
Kenneth
mean?
Walker has
At
been
running
great these
back as
playoffs.
well. So I'm gonna say that one is pretty even. But the wide receiver position, I think it's not even close. Um, but I'm looking forward to these two
I think,
quarterbacks going at
yeah,
it. I think it's
it's
gonna
going to
be a
be a
really
great
good.
matchup, and it's going to be a great chess game as well because both
Hmm.
these coaches, this is their first time in the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel has a little bit more experience as a head coach,
Hmm.
um, but maybe the ultimate equalizer, or maybe the ultimate determining factor, may really be um, that Patriot offense. Because, like I said, I think Seattle's played better
Hmm.
offensively. I think that's a fact. Seattle's played better. But if Josh McDaniels, who has multiple Super Bowl rings, who's been on the stage more times than any other coach on either coaching staff,
Hmm.
if he draws up the game plan to kind of unlock Drake May in a way that he has not been unlocked so far, because Drake May has had moments, but he hasn't played good a whole game. He's had drives here and there. He's had quarters here and there, but he hasn't played great a whole game. Josh McDaniels may be the one to draw up the game plan to kind of unlock him in this game. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. One more football.
Let me say this really quick before we because I know you talked about both of those coaches, the experience level as far as coaching in Super Bowl.
Mhm.
But I will say this, where I'm gonna give New England a little bit of the edge in that regard is that Vrabel has the Super Bowl championship experience as a
Mhm.
player.
Correct.
And that's something that I think is going to be very helpful for this because this is a very young New England Patriots team.
Mhm.
Like we don't even really think about that, but this is a very young New England Patriots team. But the fact that he's been there, done it several times, that's going to be a huge boost for those guys, even just from the just the mental frame that you're in during the Super Bowl. Like you got to be in that zone as a player because there's a lot of distractions the week
Mhm.
of the Super Bowl, right? You got all of
Mhm.
the events that's going on. You're gonna have triple the women going
Mhm.
around that week during the Super Bowl. So there's so many distractions. So the fact that Vrabel has not only been there but got the job done, I think that's gonna give the Patriots just a little bit of an edge.
I agree, and that's why I was made the statement about Josh McDaniels. And now, as you were talking, I was thinking about it. Like, really, outside of Cooper Cup with Seattle, I don't think there's anybody on Seattle's team that has experience in the Super Bowl. They're a fairly young team as well.
Cool, right? Yeah, they might be. Yeah, I think he might be actually.
Yeah, they're a fairly young team as well. Like I said, when you look at their team, they're young guys on offense and defense. They haven't been here. Now, on defense, Ernest Jones was part of that Rams team that won. So you got one guy, you got two
Okay,
guys
so
that both were with the Rams, but you got one guy on each side of the ball. When I look at the Patriots, Mike Vrabel's been here before. Josh McDaniels has been here before. Milton Williams, their defensive tackle, was just in the Super Bowl with the Eagles last year, right?
mhm.
Carlton Davis, the cornerback, was in the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay.
Yep,
So
with the
I,
Bucks.
I do think, in terms of experience and preparation, New England might have a slight advantage because they have enough guys in that room, in that building, that can
Mhm.
say, hey, look, this is how we got to handle business. Like, let's stay away from the distractions. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of partying. We know that's part of it. There's going to be a lot of partying. There's going to be a lot of demands to go out. There's going to be a lot of people hitting up your phone. I think New England might have a slight advantage there, but I do agree with everything else. Both teams are so young, you really don't know what you're going to get until you get on the field
Yeah.
because you got a very young secondary in Seattle. Those guys, this is the deepest they've ever been Super Bowl. You got a lot of young guys on the Patriots side, and we talked about this with Henderson, with their left tackle Will Campbell, who's been struggling. Stephon Diggs is a veteran, but he's never been to a Super Bowl. Hunter Henry's a veteran; he's never been to a Super Bowl. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
experience on both sides. It will be interesting to see how they handle that. We're gonna do one more football related topic. I'll talk about the Senior Bowl towards the end and some of the things I've been noticing here. But one more football topic, and then we got to get to the NBA because there's been a major story going on in the NBA over the last couple of days that we got to get into, and it seems like it's heating up. Like a trade could happen by the end of the weekend. But Bill Belichick, for whatever reason, he was not voted in to the National Football Hall of Fame on the first ballot. I know there's some people on the internet, oh, he's going to get in anyway. Doesn't matter that he's going to get in anyway. It's disrespectful. Bill Belichick is without a doubt the greatest football coach there's ever been.
Mhm.
Bill Belichick is an 8-time Super Bowl champion, 6 as a head coach, 2 as a defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick is second all times in wins. Bill Belichick is first all times in division titles. There is
Yep.
no head coach who has a stronger resume than Bill Belichick. And this pisses me off, Trip, because we had this same conversation. Remember, I believe it was when Mariano Rivera went into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes, because but I understood that one because I was a Red Sox guy that voted.
Either way, it was stupid because anybody who's watched Mariano Rivera, there's nobody
Yeah,
who could ever say, "Oh, he's not a Hall of Fame." He's a first ballot fucking Hall of Famer. You could
yeah.
the day he walked off the mound for the last time, you could have just walked him right to Cooperstown in that one moment. Same thing with Bill Belichick. This is ridiculous. This is stupid, and this speaks to an issue that I've had with Hall of Fame voters for quite some time because we see it all the time in baseball. You're giving these guys power and authority in situations where they're choosing to be spiteful. These are
Mhm.
writers who are being spiteful because of the relationship they had with Bill, and they're not able to set aside the fact that this is the greatest NFL head coach ever and probably the greatest football coach ever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Trip.
Yeah.
I just had to rant. Go ahead, man.
No. It's corny because we do got these voters that need to be up out. There's a lot of voters that need to be replaced. Unfortunately, as long as they continue to be in the media, they'll most likely continue to be allowed to be a voter. But clearly, uh, you know, unless the only way you could justify this is if Tom Brady goes up and he don't get a first ballot Hall of Fame nod, because like there's nothing that you can say about Bill Belichick, a good enough reason to why he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Nobody has won more football than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is a huge contributing factor into Tom Brady being the GOAT, putting him in situations, putting him in, with certain teams that catered to him, putting the right defenses around him, putting the right coaching staff, because it wasn't just always the same coaching staff from the beginning to the end. A lot of guys got swapped out in the rotation. So, if Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, we don't need a Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, because it don't mean nothing anymore.
If Bill is not going to get on the first try, then you're basically saying Brady's not getting it on the first try.
Yeah,
and we all know Brady is a first ballot.
Yep. Here's one thing. Like one thing I read online. Well, the guy, they didn't vote for him because of Deflategate and Spygate. So now, if you're going to say that, then Tom Brady better not get a first ballot Hall of Fame nod either. Because guess what? Tom Brady was right there with him.
Then why? Right, Tom Brady was there. Gronkowski was there. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they're not getting in on first ballot. And I think the argument, first of all, the reporter who said that, I think that was a cop out, because Deflategate, Spygate, they were punished for that already. Let's not act like that was news that we found out after Belichick retired, and then we couldn't timeline it and say, all right, he only did it for this amount of time. Yeah. He did what was within the rules, and he bent the rules of the NFL. You were allowed to film other teams. You just were not allowed to film their signals that were being relayed in. So they bent the rules. And we found out later on, and this is why I get so upset, even when Major League Baseball, when they had the cheating scandal with the Astros, the media picks and choose who they want to target and go after in these scenarios. Because it came out later on that the Patriots were not the only team that did that there were other teams who used that same tactic. That's one of the main reasons that head coaches, you see them all the time calling plays in, they cover their mouth when they call the plays in, because somebody has a lip reader either watching the screens or up in the booth who's able to distinguish what's being relayed into the offense. So a lot of teams have done this, but the punishment was already done. And when, correct me if I'm wrong, Trip, when Deflategate happened, it was ruled that Belichick had nothing to do with that. That was more of a Brady issue. That's why Brady got suspended 4 games. So why are we punishing Belichick now for something that when the NFL investigated, it said themselves, Belichick had nothing to do with that?
That's why it doesn't make any sense. When I saw it, I'm like, that's crazy. But if that's your reasoning behind it, because even if you feel like, all right, ain't no way Bill Belichick didn't know nothing about Deflategate. Okay, and that's your reasoning for not voting for him as a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? So you got to keep that same energy when Tom Brady comes up, because now he better not get a first ballot Hall of Fame nod either. Because if that's your excuse for not voting for Bill Belichick as for making him a first ballot Hall of Famer, then you better keep that same energy when Tom Brady comes up.
That's a fact. Shout out to my man Thudo on IG. I see you, bro. Make sure y'all follow me and y'all lock in with me. Tomorrow I'm going live from the parade out here for the Senior Bowl. It takes place, we're an hour behind, so it's going to be about 6 p.m. East Coast. Probably be live for about an hour and a half. But like I said, if you're not going to let Bill in, Gronk and Brady shouldn't get it. How crazy would it be
if the GOAT wasn't the first ballot Hall of Fame? What they did keep that same energy, and the GOAT wasn't the first ballot Hall of Fame?
Disrespectful. It'll be super disrespectful to what we know is the greatest quarterback ever. Like, let's stop.
And I love that you said that, because we're talking about the greatest coach ever, and he deserves that respect too. And that's
come on, man. That shit is whack. And these guys with votes, you can't be vindictive now because you was a cornball when you was covering the Patriots, because that's what it really comes down to, Trip. These is the dudes we talk about. These are the dudes that was super corny their whole life, and now that they get that little bit of power, it's like, now I'm gonna show you, Bill. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
show you, Bill. All those one word answers you gave me all those years, I'm not
Yep.
gonna vote you in. You know, there was
Tired
a
of you
writer,
in your cut off sleeve hoodies.
right? There was a writer who had the fucking nerve to say, I didn't vote for Bill because there was veterans who were on their last vote. So he decided to vote for Roger Craig instead. What the fuck are you doing, bro? Take his vote away. Take his
Who
vote away.
the two cats? Well, I don't know how many it was, but whoever didn't vote for for Belichick, that's the cast that voted for Bronny.
That's a fact.
Get to the
I
Hall
think we
of Fame.
figured it out. The two dudes who, yep, they voted for Bronny to make the All-Star
They
game.
out
We
here
got to get
messing
to
up the
Bronny.
pack all over the place.
Right. We got to get to that as well. Shout out to Will. He said a bunch of Hall of Fame meter maids. That's exactly what they are. But the crazy part is now they don't want to show their face. They don't want their name
Oh yeah,
attached
of
to the
course,
fact.
of
They
course
don't
not.
want their name
Because you,
attached to the fact that they didn't vote though.
'cause you look crazy. Because the reality is there's really no justification for why Bill
None.
Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
None.
So there's no way you're gonna look in any camera and at any person and be able to explain why you did not vote for Bill Belichick to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right. None. Like I said, your media credentials should be revoked. Your voting rights should be revoked after that. All right. We got a couple basketball questions. Shout out to Poole. Shout out to Kyrie. Shout out to Squeeze. We're gonna get to. Let's start with Poole's question here and kind of work backwards from there.
Mhm.
Um, Pooh said, I just seen Warriors wanted Laurie Markkinen from Jazz, but Danny Ainge wanted Podzinski included, and Warriors said no, they won't trade him for shit, but they better if Bucks ask for him. Curry wanted Laurie. So, Pooh, shout out to Pooh. That's not completely true. The Jazz did want Podzinski in the trade, but what you're missing there is that they wanted also Kaminga along with picks. And at the time, I can't remember who the expiring contract was because this was not this offseason. This was actually last offseason. So this is even before they made the Jimmy Butler trade. So it would have been Wiggins contract, picks, Podzinski, Kaminga, and it might have been one other guy to make it work because Laurie Markkinen was making more than those guys. So it wasn't just Podzinski. It was also the group chat's favorite player, Jonathan Kaminga, that had to be included in there. So I appreciate it, Pooh, but yeah, it wasn't just Podzinski. It sound the way you make it sound is like, oh, it was only Podzinski. No, it was a bunch of other players, picks, and the Warriors was like, we're not going to give you all of our young players and picks and the expiring contract of Andrew Wiggins. So that's what happened there. What else we got? I'm gonna combine these two questions here. One from Kyrie, one from Squeeze. D Rose had his jersey raised up. A lot of people saying it's great, but does he deserve a Naismith Hall of Fame? Did he do enough? I say no. Draymond says he's bigger in Chicago than Michael Jordan. Shaking my head. We're all shaking our head when Draymond said that. And then Draymond Green said that. And Squeeze also said Reggie Miller says for a 6 to 8 year stretch, D Rose and LeBron were battling for best player in the NBA. All I'm going to say is drug test Reggie. Squeeze, I 1000% agree with you because it was not no 6 to 8 year stretch because Derrick Rose blew out his knee the year after winning MVP. So what 6 to 8 year stretch is Reggie talking about?
I have no idea.
Was I in a coma? Was I out of the country? Because there was no 6 to 8 year stretch. Derrick Rose won the MVP in 2010. And the only reason he won it, and I love Derrick Rose, but let's keep it a buck. The only reason he won MVP in 2010 is because the voters did not want to vote for LeBron when LeBron first went to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason he won it. The very next year, he blew out his knee. So there was no 6 to 8 year stretch. Reggie been smoking on Reggie because there was no 6 to 8 year stretch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was crazy for him to even say some nonsense like
yeah.
that.
Let's get back to Kyrie's post. Like I said, I combined the two because it was centered around Derrick Rose. Trip, let's start with the first part of this. Should Derrick Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, because again, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, and even with his, I think his NBA resume is strong enough alone to get into the Hall of Fame. I guess if we're talking about first ballot, I guess that would depend on, who else is on the ballot with him that year. But again, Tracy McGrady, and I say it respectfully because Tracy McGrady is my guy, but honestly, that MVP, Derrick Rose got trumps the scoring title.
Mm-hmm.
So if Tracy McGrady is the first ballot Hall of Famer, then Derrick Rose got to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But when you combine his NBA resume, and again, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. College, 3-time All-American, okay. And then high school, McDonald's All-American. He got gold on 2 different FIBA tours, 2010 with Turkey, and then in 2014 again in Spain. He was a part of that. So yeah, I definitely believe that Derrick Rose is a Hall of Famer. But he was never a point in his career when he was competing with LeBron James for the best player.
It was no 6 to 8 year stretch.
Did you not see LeBron shut him down in the finals when LeBron said, no, I'm gonna guard him every fourth quarter and locked him up? Did you was y'all there for that?
Who you talking about?
When that was going on in the playoffs? When LeBron was just locking up D Rose?
In the final, in the conference final.
In the conference finals. Yeah.
Like, what finals they ain't match up with no
finals. No, not in the conference finals.
You smoking that shit too.
Yeah, Reggie passed the pack over.
Nah. But the unique thing about Derrick, I'm gonna say this: Derrick Rose should go into the Hall of Fame. I think he did a great job after the injuries of kind of redefining himself as a player. He was good in Minnesota. He was good with the Knicks, especially the second time, not the first time, but the second time. The Derrick Rose conversation is going to be one of the most interesting Hall of Fame conversations, because if he does not make the Hall of Fame, he would be the only NBA MVP to not make the Hall of Fame. So, as you mentioned, the totality of his resume may be strong enough to get him in. The other unique part of that is who else is on the ballot. Because, as you mentioned, when T-Mac made it in, that was a weak class. So there wasn't anybody else to kind of steal votes away from T-Mac. Depending on who's the ballot with D Rose is going to dictate if he gets in. He may not be a first ballot. Maybe he's a second ballot. But keep in mind, again, if he doesn't get in on that first ballot, everybody's going to talk about the fact that he's the only NBA MVP to not get in. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. In terms of Draymond Green, and we got to address that too, because that was the second part of that question. Kyrie said he went to college 1 year trip, right? Yeah, D Rose went 1 year at Memphis with John Calipari. He got out of there.
Yeah.
He also said, how many All NBA teams did D Rose have? But did he play enough games to have a Hall of Fame career? And was his college career Hall of Fame? T-Mac had a better career. T-Mac had a better NBA career. D Rose only played 1 year in college. I think D Rose Olympic resume is a little better. We would have to bring that up and double check.
He made the All NBA first team once.
Who? D Rose?
Derrick Rose. Yeah, 3-time All-Star.
And T-Mac's resume might be stronger than
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, MVP.
3-time All-Star. All-NBA first team.
We apologize. Tripp is still trying to find those 6 to 8 years that Reggie was talking about.
Yeah, no, I didn't find those. I gave up on that 20 minutes ago.
That's the most absurd shit of the week. We need to start making that a category. The most absurd shit of the week. Reggie Miller said for a 6 to 8 year period, D Rose was battling with LeBron. That wasn't. Kyrie said D Rose never played. I thought he played in the Olympic. Oh, he played in the World Cup.
I said he got the gold with FIBA.
I thought, yeah. All right.
2014 and 2010, he got gold.
His resume is going to be tricky, bro. It's going to be tricky because he don't have Olympic.
That's why I say it's going to depend on who's on the ballot. But first ballot or not, he is definitely a Hall of Famer.
It's going to be tricky.
The first ballot, which is the tricky part, is that's what we're going to see about. I think that's going to depend on who else is on the ballot. But again, we're talking about because he officially just retired. The retirement is official now.
Yeah,
so we're talking about
5 years
before he qualifies for the Hall of Fame.
Right. Let's talk about the second part of that. Draymond said D Rose is bigger in Chicago than Michael Jordan. Draymond Green is a prime example of why they're going to start limiting who can start a podcast and who can start talking about the NBA. Because Draymond continues to say
that's the reason they start testing podcasters.
They might have to, because Draymond continues to say absurd shit like this.
Paul Pierce, another one, says some certain shit all the time.
Oh yeah, Paul Pierce
So
said some
we
stupid
might
shit
have
the
to
other
start
day
drug
too.
testing podcasters too.
There's people in Chicago that don't even know Derrick Rose from Chicago. Let's keep it a buck.
I ain't know Derrick Rose.
Let's keep it a buck. There are people. If you talk to a bunch of high school hoopers in Chicago, a lot of them probably don't even know D Rose is from Chicago.
Yeah,
he's not bigger than Michael Jordan in Chicago. If Isaiah Thomas is from Chicago and Mike is bigger than him, what makes you think D Rose is bigger than both of them?
Yeah.
This is Draymond just saying some shit for shock value.
Yeah. I'm gonna name a couple of guys from Chicago that are also Hall of Famers, right? Dwayne Wade, Kevin Garnett.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So,
motherfucking. Nah, hold on. What's my man name? He went to Duke. He got injured. He played in Milwaukee for a couple years. He was bigger than D Rose.
Oh my goodness.
The forward.
Yes, he came in with Julius Randle that year.
Yes,
those were the big three.
Chad, help us out with that name. He was from Chicago, and D Rose even said he was his idol.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he played like a small forward. He was like a forward mix. He was almost like a mellow type, but maybe
Jabari Parker. There you go.
Jabari Parker is probably bigger in Chicago than D Rose. No disrespect and pause on that. Yeah. Ron, shout out to Ron. He said, I think some hood cats love Rose maybe more, but he isn't bigger. That's a fact. I think those from the city that watched D Rose grow up and saw his career, he went to Simeon and saw him become an NBA star. Yeah, they got love for him on a different level, but he is not bigger than Michael Jordan in Chicago.
There's not too many basketball players in the world that are more popular than Michael Jordan in the world.
Right.
And if you want to go state by state, right? Like the only comparison you could make, like to if you're doing a state by state thing, I think Kobe would probably be, you know what I'm saying, bigger than him in LA. You know, Braun may be bigger than him in Cleveland. You know, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Ain't nobody, and definitely not in Chicago. Are you crazy? That man brought 6 championships to Chicago and is the GOAT. Right. That don't even make sense for you to say something like that, bro.
Shout out to my man Terry Span. I see you on Instagram, bro. We out here making moves out here at the Senior Bowl. Will said Eddie Curry's big in Chicago. Eddie Curry's a 4X t-shirt, so he might be bigger. Paul.
Yeah, unless you say he's talking about height wise, but not. That's just crazy.
Shout out to Eddie Curry, though. Shout out to Eddie Curry, man.
Now you gonna throw Pat Bev in there too, because ain't Pat Bev from Chicago?
Yeah, Pat Bev. Jump on the scores table like Pat Bev did after they won the play-in game. We got to get to. Let's see what else. I thought we had one more basketball question. And we did. Shout out to Kyrie. Did y'all see last night's Cavs Lakers? That shit was sad in a bad way. Braun looked 50. Lakers got smashed. Thoughts on the Cavs players saying, this is Donovan City now. His name Tyson something. That was super goofy.
I saw that he don't know no better.
That was super goofy. Yeah. It was disrespectful as well because, and I like the way Donovan Mitchell, if you guys haven't seen, I like the way Donovan Mitchell handled it.
Yeah.
When he said, we're not gonna, with everything that LeBron has done for the city as a whole.
Yeah.
Nobody could ever say, this ain't Bron City, it's Bron City.
Cut it out.
But
cut it out.
Trip, I know you have a residency in LA right now.
Mm-hmm.
Your contract is up at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Do you think Braun is gone up out of there after this year? Because it's getting very ugly there in LA.
Yeah, I think. Okay, if the Lakers don't have a good showing, getting to the playoffs, and at least go make a series out of the second round, I think for sure he's out of there. I don't think he's going to be traded out right now before the trade deadline. I don't think that's going to happen. I really just don't see that. Obviously, I know Cat's going to talk all day. I don't believe that that's going to happen. Even if it was the Golden State or whatever, I just don't see it. Because I do feel like LeBron wants to be in LA, and I'm not talking about playing for the Lakers. I'm just saying he wants to be in LA because that's where he's gonna, be for the most part after the NBA. Because he's in film and different
Right.
things with television and whatnot. So I think he does want to be there. But I mean, who knows? Maybe this might be Bron's last year.
That was the news reports today. Now, Brian Windhorst, who's one of the people closest to LeBron because he covered LeBron for so many years, has said he doesn't think it is. But there was footage of LeBron crying yesterday towards the end of that game. They were trying to make a big deal about his mom, Gloria, being there with other family members. I don't think that had anything to do with it being his last game. Keep in mind, the Lakers only make one trip to Cleveland. So for Gloria, this would have been her only chance to see her grandson play in Cleveland and see her son, obviously back home. And also they debuted the Bronny sneaker yesterday.
Which is super dope.
Yeah. So I don't think this is his last game. I do think Bron is out of there. I think the writing's been on the wall for 2 years now. I said this, and it's in the archives. You can go back and check it out. Remember a couple years ago when they were floating trade ideas out, and Bron had to come out and say, "Hey, I'm not requesting a trade," and nobody was even asking if Bron was getting traded. And the fact that Bron had to come out and say that let me know that the Lakers are probably telling him, "Hey, we're going to start moving in a different direction." The very next year is when they make the Luka trade, which was last season. And now Bron had to opt into his contract to stay with the Lakers. They obviously didn't offer him anything long term, understandably so. He's 41 years old.
Well, yeah,
they're not committing, right? But it just seems like there's a lot going on around LeBron and the Lakers right now. That seems like that relationship is over. The report comes out with what Jeannie Buss had felt about the LeBron situation. Shout out to Ron because I was in post this as well. He said, "Did y'all notice Clutch Sports having a week of clearing shit up?" So Ramona says Bron didn't want Bronny on Lakers. Stevie Wonder could see that. This is the main problem we have with Clutch, though. That LeBron and Rich Paul play this game like if we're naive and we don't see what's going on in it, as if we don't remember the things that were said before. Clutch did everything in their power to make sure Bronny was there available for the Lakers. Keep in mind, they were the ones telling everybody, don't draft Bronny. He's not signing a two-way contract. The reports came out after the draft that they even called teams that were just ahead of them and said, don't take him because he won't play for you.
Yeah, so, I think they said he would only play for like Phoenix or LA, something like that.
Right. So they positioned themselves to be able to draft him. So we know Bron wanted him. I don't know why Bron is trying to play this stance now of like, oh, we didn't want you. You wanted him all along.
Yeah.
Right. And this is my issue with Bron, Trip. This is why I say this. I give Bron his props. I think Bron is the second greatest player ever. I've always said that. But the bullshit like this is where people get fed up with LeBron James. Stop. Yeah. Stop playing us like we dumb and naive, like we don't know, like we haven't been paying attention to the NBA and we haven't seen the things that you guys have been doing behind the scenes to position this situation. And so now, in terms of what happened last night, what's been happening since Bron has come back from sciatica, it hasn't been good. The Lakers are 5-5 in their last 10, very average, of course. If you look at their point differential, they're the only team. If you look at the Western Conference, the top 8 teams, they're the only team with a minus point differential. They have not played good basketball since Bron has gotten back. Yeah. Rich Paul making the suggestions, if I was going to make a trade, it would be Austin Reeves. Those things aren't sitting well with the locker room.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Lakers will have the balls to trade him at the trade deadline, but I really think the Lakers should have a serious conversation with LeBron and say, where can we trade you? And that way we both just have a clean split. Let's not drag this out any longer. We know what's going on here. This is Luka's team.
Yeah.
You're obviously not comfortable playing second fiddle to him. That's okay. You're LeBron James. That's okay. It's understandable. You've never had to do that before. But why are we dragging this out for things to get worse? Let's just move on and build around Luka. And LeBron, you go to a situation that can possibly help you win a championship this year.
Yeah. Well, he can't go back to Cleveland because that's Donovan Mitchell's city now.
According to the kid Tyson, Will said he's too much of a narcissist to go out without a farewell tour. I agree with that. He's definitely getting a farewell tour. He is not just going to retire this year.
Well, he deserves a farewell tour.
He deserves a tour, absolutely. But he's going to announce it before the season so that every game becomes a spectacle. You know that already, Trip. You know that already. There's no way he pulls the Tim Duncan and at the end
My
of the season.
my loyalty to LeBron will not allow me to speak.
Listen, for those of y'all that don't know, I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is why I love my brother Trip Young. When it comes to LeBron James, Trip Young is willing to be Tony Yayo for LeBron. He said, fuck that. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about nothing else. My loyalty is to LeBron James.
I can't. I will
Right.
not go against LBJ.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it, man. But man, Trip, he loyal like that, man. There was one more major basketball topic we got to get to. Will we get into it right now? I saw your question there. Shout out to Squeeze. He said Giannis now wants to leave. So what's the best spots for him? Media saying Warriors are team to beat for him. And I want to combine that with this. Shout out to Will Gordon on this one. He said, I had to step away, so I don't know if y'all touched on Giannis. Pause.
Oh, Jesus, Will.
But
it don't matter if Will is on the show with us, if he's just in the comments.
No. But listen, he corrected it before he even hit enter. He said pause right then and there. All right. Best trade for him for both sides is H-Town. So let's get to Giannis.
The best trade for both is who?
Both sides is Houston.
What?
That's Will's take on it.
With Kevin Durant, Houston Rockets?
Those Rockets, yes.
Well, I mean, they're gonna have to give up a couple of things, actually. So you kind of
hold on, Trip. Hold on, I gotta post this. Kyrie said, "Who loves Broad more, Trip Young or Nick Wright?" Trip loves him for real. Shout out to Kyrie.
It's probably me, but Nick Wright is more biased than me.
Okay. So
shout out to Kyrie.
Hold on. Let's get to this though. Hold on. Giannis wants out of Milwaukee. It's the worst kept secret. We've talked about it since August, September, right before the season started. Here we are in late January. We're a week away from the NBA trade deadline. Giannis wants out. In your opinion, what would be the best landing spot?
All right. The best landing spot would be Golden State. The landing spot where I would want him to go would be New York.
Okay. Now, as of yesterday, I remember when I saw the alerts coming through, they said the Warriors had made a serious offer, and then I believe Shams Charania came out after and was like the 4 best offers so far have been made by the Warriors, the Timberwolves, which I think is super interesting.
I wonder what that offer was then.
Right. The Knicks and the Heat. So 2 Western Conference teams, 2 Eastern Conference teams. Just to kind of set the table for you, for the Warriors, it's going to be Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler, as of next year, will become an expiring contract. So obviously, you're not playing him for the rest of this year, and you might not even play him next year. And you take that expiring contract and you flip it somewhere else, along with picks, Kuminga picks. So you would get the young player and Kuminga, and then you would get probably 2 or 3 future picks. Yeah. So that would be the Warriors' probably best trade option. Minnesota, my understanding of Minnesota's situation is the only real expiring contract they have is DiVincenzo, which is somewhere in the range of like 16 million. But they could flip. It'll probably be a flip that would center around DiVincenzo, either Rudy or Randall, because you can't keep them both on the roster.
Yeah, because Rudy's contract is
right.
Crazy.
So you would have to flip one of them. Probably, I'm gonna assume Jaden Daniels, is gonna have to be a part of that deal because he's their best young asset.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of picks. So again, one expiring contract.
Randall, because I think Gobert and Giannis's contract is kind of closer than Randall.
It's gonna have to be one of them.
Contract. So if it's Randall, it's definitely gonna have to be Jaden Daniels with him, and maybe even DiVincenzo as well,
Right.
plus some picks or whatever. But I hope that doesn't happen. Actually, Eric, and I got to show you something. I know you'll be happy about this right now.
What's
I'm gonna show
that?
you this, right? So, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
shout out to my bro Sky High. He got me this for Christmas. I haven't worn it yet. So I said,
Shout
I'm
out to
gonna,
Sky High.
I
I
told him,
see y'all been doing. Nah, I see y'all been doing y'all thing out there.
oh yeah, we moving and grooving. But I ain't gonna wear it until they bring Giannis over. No,
Okay.
that's what I'm gonna wear. Now, well,
All
as
right.
long as they bring Giannis over in the trade, it's lit.
All right. Now you got those two scenarios. Miami scenario is interesting because I did hear, and I'm gonna bring that comment up from Will in a second, but I heard a scenario with Miami where they could make the trade, but they probably got to get a third team involved.
Mhm.
It's gonna center around Wiggins and Bam being shipped out with a collection of picks to bring in Giannis and possibly Bobby Portis.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm sorry.
I'm just reporting what I'm hearing out
Yeah,
there.
no, I get that, but I just don't like it because I don't want to have to get rid of Bam to bring because now I feel like we're
Right.
in the
You would like
same
to
place.
keep
You know what I mean?
Bam,
Obviously,
Giannis, and
Giannis is
Tyler
better
Hero.
than Bam, but
Right.
losing Bam and bringing in Giannis is like we still in the same place we was just at. Doesn't move
Fair.
the needle.
Now, that might be Pat Riley's last big move. That maybe Pat is obsessed with making that one last big move to see if he can turn
One
Miami
last
into a
hurrah.
contender. Yeah, the Knicks move is pretty it's simple. It's what we talked about for quite some time. It's either it's going to be Cat and somebody else. The
Yeah.
last trade I heard that I did like, I'm not going to lie, that I did like was Cat with Bridges going to Portland. It would be a
Okay.
3-team trade. So
I'm about to say
Cat
because
could
you can't send them together because they don't even like each other.
no. So right, that part too. But Cat going to Milwaukee, Bridges going to Portland. The Knicks taking back Giannis and Drew Holiday,
Mm-hmm.
and then a bunch of future picks kind of scattered around.
Now that I like a lot.
Now I love that trade if the Knicks can make that trade because there's been rumors that the Knicks already reached out to Portland about Drew Holiday's availability. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that hurts the Knicks in that case is that Drew Holiday still has 2 more years on his deal. So the Knicks would have to be willing to say, all right, this is the team. We're locked in as a second apron team.
So what? If
No,
you
no,
tell them
listen,
we don't got
but
to get rid of OG, you don't got to get rid
you
of
don't have to get rid of
Brunson.
OG. You don't
You
have
can
to get
still
rid of
hold on to
Brunson.
Mitchell Robinson in that
You keep
deal, and you
Mitch.
bringing over Giannis
You
and
keep Josh Hart. You don't have to
what?
get But remember, the penalties as a second apron team are very, very harsh right now. I don't know how
Yeah,
Leon Rose feels about it. That's that situation. I want to bring this one up from Will because there's the Houston one. I've heard about this one as well. Şengün, another player in picks. Rockets pair KD with him. Bucks get a building young star. So that's not the complete deal though, Will, because the Rockets would have to. It can't just be Şengün because the salary doesn't match up.
yeah.
And the Rockets themselves are already a first apron stream. So what's going to happen is for the Rockets to do it, it is doable. I don't want to make it seem like it's impossible. It is very doable. The question becomes, do the Bucks want to be hard asses and ask for more? It would have to be Şengün. It would have to be Van Fleet, who's injured right now. It would have to be multiple picks. The reason I say, do the Bucks become hard asses, pause on this, is because if I'm the Bucks, I know Van Fleet is not going to play for me. So you're basically just trading me Şengün and picks. Is that enough? I like Şengün, but if I'm the Bucks, not only do I want Şengün, I want Thompson. I want Amen Thompson. I want the 2 young stars that I can build around. Because if I'm Milwaukee, if I'm Milwaukee, Trip, I'm never gonna get a chance to sign a free agent. No free agent signs in Milwaukee.
If I'm Houston, I don't do that. I'm sorry.
And that's why I say it gets difficult.
I'm not giving up Şengün all the time. I don't really want Thompson. If it was like, all right, I could give up Thompson and a couple other nondescript dudes to match the contract. I'd that yeah. I'm not giving up a 23-year-old center like Şengün, who I believe is gonna be one of the top centers in basketball, very soon. If he's not already now.
I think it's a very tough conversation to have here, Houston. Houston right now, signing KD, you basically said your window is the next 2 years,
Yeah.
right? That's what you're saying. So to turn down the Giannis trade, you're, I mean, you're rolling the dice that you can win with KD. But if I'm be
I
honest, if I'm
think they
Houston,
can win with Kevin. Like
I
this,
know
and I'd be
it's a
even
really
more
good team.
confident if Van Fleet was playing, because I just feel like they're gonna need that floor general during the playoffs. But this team can win the championship too. I'm sorry, like we're not gonna disrespect Kevin Durant like that. Like it's not like when we look at Kevin Durant, like all right, we see clearly that LeBron is slowing down now. I don't see that with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's still out there looking like Kevin Durant. So I think Houston has a good enough chance as any to not only get to a finals but win a finals. But again, it's going to take more time for them because you don't have your floor general, so they had to be, they had to
Right.
get adjusted to that because everybody thought Van Fleet was going to be there, so they had to get adjusted to not having Fred Van Fleet out there now, and we were already getting adjusted to having Kevin Durant there. So, and I think this is a really good team. I've watched a couple of Houston's games this season. They're coached very well. They play really good defense, and then you have your star who can finish the game for you on a night-to-night basis in Kevin Durant. Plus, you got this
Like,
dominant, two-way big man. You
yeah,
got Thompson. This is a really good put
I
together
agree.
roster. I don't
It's
I don't
it's a
want to
good.
shake that up
I
with
agree.
Giannis. He's gonna have to
I
take up
think,
too much.
and that's why I say that's the tough conversation because I agree. I think they're a good team. I still believe they're the second best team in the West behind OKC. And I know some people are, oh, the Spurs. I like the Spurs. I like Denver. But when I look at Durant, Şengün, a lot of people don't even know how good Şengün is. When you
Yeah,
look at those two guys with Thompson, with Jabari Smith, with Reed Shepard, they got a lot of good young pieces. They just need the veteran point guard. If they can make the smaller move for the veteran point guard, the sky's the limit for them. But if you're Houston, the tricky part is if you make this trade and you give away those two young assets and picks, it is truly now or never in the next 2 years. And you could find yourself at the end of those 2 years with no championship and then no assets. And they went down that road before. They did that with James Harden. How many times did they keep trading for the other guy? Right?
that's what
They
I'm
went
saying.
after Dwight Howard. They went after Chris Paul. They went after Russell Westbrook. And it kept leaving them with no other assets. And I don't know if Houston wants to go down that road again.
If this is next season and we see, excuse me, we've seen this team's peak, and I'm talking about in the playoffs, and Giannis was available. You know what? I would say, all right, but you gotta let this thing play out because you gotta really see how good this team is because you don't know how good this team can be just yet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if I'm Houston, I might just wait. I think, see, and it's also about timeline too, right? If you're, like I said, Pat Riley, you're looking for the last hurrah. You're hoping that Giannis can give you, a good 2 to 3 year window to kind of end off your legacy in Miami. If you're the Knicks, I understand why you make the move. And I said a couple weeks ago, remember when I was like, I wouldn't trade, I wouldn't make the move. But I understand if you're the Knicks, because if you're the Knicks, you're looking at a roster like, all right, what's our ceiling? This is a city that starved for a championship. What's our ceiling? Because this is who we are. If we don't make the trade for Giannis, the Knicks are locked in with this roster. And after
Yeah.
next season, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be due for an extension. Are you giving Cat a new contract? Right? Bridges already got his money. He just got it last offseason. OG got his money. He got it the offseason before. Brunson is on a team-friendly contract. So if you're the Knicks, you're looking at it from the standpoint of Josh Hart got his money, Brunson got his money, OG Bridges Bridges got his money. Cat's the only one that's about to get his money. Either you're going to win with this roster or you're going to make some move, and it's going to have to center around Karl-Anthony Towns. He's the piece. So I understand why the Knicks are thinking about it. Do I want them to make the trade? I don't want them to blow up the roster, Trip. I've said that already. If you're going to make the trade, don't blow up the roster. But if you're Houston is ahead of schedule, right? They were the number 2 seed in the West last year. They came out of nowhere to be the number 2 seed. Şengün is young. Thompson is young. Reed Shepard is young. Jabari Smith is young. All the Tari Eason is young. All those guys are young. you don't have to rush the timeline. I think
Yeah,
you could
that's
just
what I'm saying.
chill. I think you could just chill and just say, yo, what veteran point guard can we bring in to help this situation?
Y'all broke it up a little bit to bring Kevin Durant over. I'm not mad at that because we saw what you guys could.
And it was smart the way they did it, right?
Yes, and it was clear that you did need that. You needed
Right.
to go. That's something because you didn't have a closer. So I'm all for that. But now to do it again and to break up what you have before you even really see what these guys can do, like again,
They haven't even
if
played a season together. They haven't
that's
played
what
one
I'm saying,
season together.
if Kevin Durant, if it was clear signs of him slowing down, you know what I'm saying, like LeBron, then you know what? All right, let's shuffle, let's roll the dice and take the chance. But I like this team. I think they need to give it time.
I agree. Kyrie said, Doc Rivers said the other day, Embiid is the most talented player he has ever coached. Was that shade to Giannis?
First of all, nobody care what Doc Rivers said anyway, but of course it was shade to Giannis, even though he ain't coaching for that long.
You think that was
But
shade to Giannis?
I don't. Well, you know, it may not have been shade, but I mean, Giannis is clearly better than Joel Embiid. But I guess I mean I get he did coach Embiid longer, so you know, but he did it. You know, it also it didn't go well for him in you know, Milwaukee either. He didn't really have it wasn't a great experience there. So you know, maybe he is a little salty. Who knows?
Uh, the timing is crazy. I agree with Kyrie on that. The timing is a little crazy. But I don't think that was shade at Giannis. Giannis is a physical freak, pause, right? What Giannis does is on the level of like Shaq in his prime, where he's just so physically imposing. In terms of skill, I agree with Doc Rivers because I think there was a point there before the injuries got too crazy where you looked at Embiid and was like, what can't he do on the court?
Yeah.
Embiid could do everything on a court, right? And we're not talking like one of these slim, like 7 foot centers who's running around. Like we're talking about a big, bulky, dominant center who could step out, shoot the three, who could get his own shot. If you look back at Embiid's MVP season, he was taking cats off the dribble and getting to the free throw line and pulling up. So I understand what Doc was saying. Now, the timing is crazy because obviously it's in the midst of what's going on right now with Giannis.
Yeah.
The timing is also crazy. I don't know if you saw this. Dan, what's homie name? He was with Milwaukee for a little bit. Jay Crowder.
Okay.
He posted, he said, just a reminder, we were 30-13 before they hired Doc Rivers.
Oh yeah.
So that part of it goes into the timing as well. That like there's a couple people that's kind of salty about how everything's played out, but I think Doc isn't wrong. And again, think about some of the guys that Doc has coached. Doc had Kawhi and Paul George. Doc had Tracy McGrady. Yeah. Doc had KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen.
You know what? I guess because if we're talking about talent, then I guess that is a little bit more subjective, as opposed to because I feel like I'm looking at it more as just the resume, and I just think that Giannis is, you know what I mean?
Not best overall, right? Not best overall.
But I guess if you're talking about talented, you know, then yeah, I guess I could see that. Because you know what? Offensively, Embiid is way more versatile than Giannis. So I you know what? I can see that.
Yeah. That's how I took the statement.
Yeah.
I didn't take it from like a shot. I took it like, bro, you're talking about a guy who there wasn't anything Embiid. And when I say his prime, it sounds crazy, but 4 years ago when he won MVP, there wasn't anything on the court that Embiid couldn't do.
Yeah.
And let's not pretend that for 3 years we didn't question whether Embiid was the MVP over Joker. There was a 3-year run where they were the two best players in the league.
Well, I mean, during that time, I always felt like Embiid was the better player of the two because I just,
because he plays both sides of the court.
Yeah, and Embiid had him every time they played head up.
Yeah,
too.
Not a 6 to 8 year run. It wasn't a 6 to 8 year
Nah, I
run,
wasn't no 6 to 8
but it
year
was
run.
about a 3 year run,
About
Trip.
2 to 3. It was 2 to 3. 2 to
Yeah,
3.
it was
Come
about
on
two
now.
to three, 2 to 3, 2 to 3. All right, man. Listen, guys, make sure we're gonna get ready to wrap up in a little bit. Shout out to the comment section, though. Make sure you guys are subscribed not only to the Sanchez Show, but also Real Fans Real Talk. We'll be back Monday, 7 p.m. Real Fans Real Talk. You see the social media handles. Make sure you are following both of us. And if you're not already following me, make sure you follow me tomorrow because, like I mentioned, I'm going to be going live from the Senior Bowl as the parade goes down in Mobile, Alabama. Kind of a celebratory parade. The practices are done. Most of the evaluation is done. The game goes down Saturday. Before I leave, wanted to share some of the tidbits and some of the things I saw while I was out here. My first time out here, I'm gonna say this, Trip, and this is gonna change my perspective on how we talk about some of these NFL teams because I got to see it firsthand. Coming out here, shout out to my man Terry. He told me, he said, when you get out here, the one thing you're gonna notice, you're gonna see the teams that are organized, and you're gonna notice why teams and organizations have been successful, and you're gonna see the teams that look like this is a Mickey Mouse operation.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we were on Radio Row, and we were there with ESPN Radio, with New York Giant Radio, Dallas Cowboys were there, Detroit Lions were there, and I'm just talking like the radio and the podcast stations. And then every team is here. Every team has a representation here, right? Some teams have more representation than others, but we have found the area just to kind of paint the picture for people. And Trip, you're from New York, I'm from New York, so I'll use this as an analogy. Think about Jacob Javits Center, the convention center, and think about that area being where everything is done in terms of meetings, media, all that, questions, all that. So there's a section there where every NFL team has a booth. And you could see, I'm not gonna lie, I got caught peeking into the Colts booth. I had to introduce myself to somebody because they like, who the fuck is this guy? That's what happened. That's real facts. Shout out to my man Greg on the Colts coaching staff. If he ever sees, he know who he is because I went and shook his head like, yeah, I'm Eric. I just peeking my head in. But my point being, you see the setup, and then you see the wave of coaches and scouts coming in. And you could see why certain teams are successful because you look and you're like, yo, they look like they kind of organized and got their shit together. They got all the laptops out. They got the TV monitors up. They got plays on the screen, Trip. They going over stuff with players.
And then you go into the next team and you got a clipboard.
And then I saw two particular organizations that I only saw they had two scouts there. I'm not going to say the name of the team, but they wear green and they play in New York. They had two scouts there, Trip. Yeah. It wasn't nice.
That's crazy.
Compared to, I saw the Ravens come through with an army of people. The
Ravens have always been talked about as far as their organization. One of the better organizations.
I saw the Falcons come through with an army of people. Before I landed on Tuesday, my man Terry told me, he said the Dolphins had about 20 people out there.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see the Jets got two people sitting in the booth, I'm like, this why y'all the Jets.
They're being cheap.
Yeah, this is why you guys who you are. Like even today was the last practice. Shout out to who I was on, let Will know this. Coach Harbaugh was on the field today during the last practice. Evaluating guys. Again, speaking to the commitment of we're trying to get better, right? It's the last practice of the Senior Bowl. And yet the coach of the Chargers is on the field evaluating guys and taking a look at some last minute guys and hey man, who might be a steal? Who might be a guy in the second or third round we can get? So shout out to the Senior Bowl as a whole. But I will say, like I said, this perspective has kind of changed. Just understanding now, I see why certain analysts they criticize teams the way they do. Because when you're behind the scenes, shout out to Louis Reddick. He was here earlier today. I was hoping to see Todd McShay, but you look at some of the guys and you look at some of the teams and you're like, man, where's your scouting department? What are you guys doing? Why aren't you out here evaluating guys? Why aren't you out here doing one-on-one interviews? Eagles
you shouldn't have to ask why they're not winning.
Right. The Eagles had a boatload of people. I saw Big Dom yesterday, and the Eagles were coaching it up today. The Saints were coaching it up today. So there was a lot of guys that Dallas Cowboys were actually coaching up all the D linemen today. So
Okay.
it's crazy because you look at these teams and you like, man, now it makes sense why some of these teams, like I said, that one particular team, there's another team in the AFC West that was just last place. Trip, I saw their scouts walk through, man, and I didn't know whether to throw change in a cup or to try to shake their hand. It was bad, bro. It was bad. So that was my first takeaway from this week. My second takeaway from this week, man, shout out to all the young brothers out here that's on this journey. There's a lot of great talent. You guys will see. I'm going to post up some of the interviews. There's a particular running back that I met that immediately I'm like, man, this dude, the numbers back it up, but I just think the personality and the mindset. Mike Washington Jr., be on the lookout for him. He's a running back from Arkansas. And Trip, when I tell you, man, it was one of the best interactions I had here in terms of speaking to somebody who just was focused, but also understood the mission, understood why he was here. Him speaking about his older brother, who's a Marine, and how that helped with his training and preparation. So a lot of good young dudes out here. The quarterback obviously is the most talked about position. Diego Pavia, there's been a lot made about his height. I talked about it in the clip that I posted yesterday. He's not 6 feet. He's not even 5'9", bro. That dude like 5'7". And that's not the shit on him, because if he make it, he's gonna get an opportunity. But I know a lot is made about the quarterback position and being able to look over the line of scrimmage. It's gonna be very interesting to see.
It's crazy because I think Drew Brees was 5'9", I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So if Diego is drafted, he would be the shortest quarterback ever drafted.
How old is Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray measured in at 5'10.5". Bryce Young measured in at 5'11". Those were the two shortest.
5'7" though is crazy, bro. Like,
bro, I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10" for the listeners. I'm 5'10". He walked past me, and I kind of looked down a little bit, like, yeah, he not even 5'10", bro. But I give him all the respect in the world because I understand that this is a situation you got to come out here, you got to put on the good face, you got to meet with teams, and you got to put your best foot forward. You got to try to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do to make it happen.
Because, geez, that sounds crazy to me. 5'7" is like, that's unheard of, bro.
Right. But, I mean, listen, I wish him the best. As a Latino, I wish him the best. I hope he gets drafted. I hope he gets that opportunity. A lot's going to be made of that. Who else we had this week, Trip? There's a kid out of Notre Dame. Okay. Be on the lookout for this name, Trip. Malachi Fields. He played at Virginia 2 years. He was at Notre Dame this last year. His numbers tailed off, but I think a part of that is just maybe Notre Dame's passing game wasn't good enough. Remember, Notre Dame had Jeremiah Love, who was a Heisman finalist at running back. He didn't get the passes his way. But bro, when I tell you he looks the part, this dude is a legit 6'4", 225.
Okay.
I'm gonna say pause before I even say the statement. Body fat might be 1%. Pause. I'm just telling you right now. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you, Trip. Pause.
You got it, man.
I'm just saying. I saw this dude, and then I saw a little bit of his practice today. I'm like, yo, this dude might be an immediate impact at the next level. There's some great receivers here. Great receivers here. But this dude, when I say looks the part, and if everything goes right, he's going to be a problem at the next level. And he might be flying under the radar just because the numbers at Notre Dame weren't great.
Yeah.
But in terms of the physicals, he's there, bro. He's there.
Okay. I'm on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. Like I said, and then obviously Katron Allen out of Penn State. Yeah. He mentioned Saquon. When we talked to him, we spoke a little bit off air, and then we did, the question with him because he had a lot of people that were trying to get his time. And shout out to him. He gave us an opportunity just to speak with him. And so good young dude. I think he's going to be a great force at the next level. You look at his numbers, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons at Penn State, which is saying something. This past season, 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. Again, overlooked a little bit because Penn State didn't have a great year as a team, but individually he was great. I think he's going to be great at the next level. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a late first round, early second round. But some guys to pay attention to, some guys to look out for, man.
All right. Gonna do that.
Trip, give me a final thought before we wrap up for the night.
You know what? Since we didn't get to go live this Monday, I didn't get to tell the family that we got Valerie Still. We got another women's basketball legend that's going to be joining us on the show soon. So she's going to be on February 16th. That's the Monday after Valentine's Day. She's going to be joining us, and her story is amazing. She's got a whole lot going on right now. So we're very excited about having her on the program. But yeah, so shout out to Valerie Still. She'll be with us next month.
That's a fact. That's going to be a great interview. We're doing that with the Monday after Valentine's, right? The 15th?
Yes.
So that's going to be definitely one to look out for. And as I mentioned, guys, make sure you're locked in with us. Subscribe to not only the Sanchez Show, as we're live next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., but also Real Fans Real Talk, 7 p.m. on Monday. We'll be back. Lock in. Like I said, I'm going live tomorrow from the parade, so definitely rock with us. You see the social media handles. If you're not following us already, make sure you are following us. You can send over your questions, your comments, your topics over there as well. But for my brother Trip Young, I am Eric Sanchez. This was the Sanchez Show. We out of here, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. We talk to you guys later.